Welcome to a special, what are we calling this? The pre-State of the Union or pre-gaming, the State of the Union. It's me and Puppet Carlson tonight. Matt's in the war room getting everything ready to tweet storm and cover everything over at the dcpatriot.com, bringing you all of the information, all of the coverage, all of the great clips. So he's back at the war room right now, getting everything ready to go so we can bring you all of the latest information. So it's Puppet and I tonight. What's going on, Puppet?
How you doing, Dave?
We're here. We're streaming. Now, this is the first time I've used this platform to stream, so we'll see how it goes. It seems like it's going okay already, right? That transition was a little bumpy, but I'm happy with it.
I'm using my Mac tonight.
Nice. Can you type with those fingers?
Yeah. Not when they're linked together like this, but, you know, I'm going to try it out tonight.
Maybe you can do like a Neuralink or something.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Maybe we need an Apple sponsorship or something.
I would love an Apple sponsorship. I'm gonna try to I'm trying to figure out how to get into our chat here over on Pilled. I don't know where my show is on here, so if I get into if you guys are watching on Pilled, I'm gonna try to find the show and get into the chat here. For some reason, it's not popping up here. Puppet, why don't you tell me? You have a big announcement for people today. What's going on today? What do they have to look forward to?
Well, tonight I am launching the Puppet Nation State of the Union address. I am going to address the nation and let them know what is at stake for this coming election, and it's a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, as we've been talking about now for many nights, many shows, many posts on X and Instagram and Pilled and everywhere else, we are talking about this fight for our nation, for our freedom, for our sovereignty, for our values, for our principles, for our faith. All of it is up for grabs, and we are going to do everything we can to win in November, and my State of the Union addresses it all. And I figured I'd put mine out before the big guy puts his out, and, which has typically a negative message for those of us who believe in America First principles.
What do you think is going to happen tonight? What do you think that State of the Union is going to look like? I mean, I talked about this morning. I thought that we were going to have which type of Joe Biden do you think we're going to get? I'm curious.
Well, I think they've had him in lockdown for the last 4 days, getting ready for this. And who knows what they do to Joe Biden in lockdown? He sleeps for 4 days. They inject him with some Adderall and who knows what else. And then they prop him up on stage, and unbelievably, he doesn't do great, but he tends to do okay in these situations. It's like, he has been a career politician, and anybody who has either studied or has been an entertainer and been on stage at all, you kind of have a muscle memory for the excitement and the exhilaration and the adrenaline that comes from being on stage in front of a crowd. And, George Burns, until he was 100, he was almost falling asleep in a chair. They'd trot him out on stage and he'd come to life. And, that's kind of what these guys do. And, but tonight they're definitely going to be artificially helping Joe Biden, I'm sure, get ready for tonight's festivities.
Well, he was taking it easy the last couple of days.
I'm sure.
And there was a rumor out earlier. Sean Spicer was joking about it, and it turned into a shitstorm over on Twitter, that they were going to have 2 intermissions during the State of the Union. I think there is not going to be an intermission, but I think his speech, they're saying it's going to be like an hour and a half or something. It'll be really interesting to see if he's able to hold it together that long, because the last time he was on a teleprompter, it was really just a few minutes. And so I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it down, to be honest with you. But look, I think You've seen his people. He can
Yeah.
and they go woo. He was like,
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
we are going to bring justice for all. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
So
It's
literally,
ridiculous.
literally he could say whatever he wants at this point. And
Personally,
people
I'm
will
hoping
cheer.
he falls to Hamburger tonight to really let people know what we're dealing with here. I mean,
Yep.
not in a negative way, not in a hurt himself or anything like that, but just really just show Joe that we know Joe to be.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll tell you what won't happen tonight. And I forgot who posted this, but it was really an excellent take. I can promise you who's not going to be, what's not going to happen tonight. Speaker Johnson is not going to rip the State of the Union in half, right?
No,
That's
I
not
don't
going to
think that's
happen.
going to happen.
Now, Kamala will sit there, looking all happy that she's there. But Johnson will just sit there. I'm sure the Republicans will applaud for some things like, this is a country worth fighting for. And everyone will be like, woo. What's going to happen tonight? And look, I've tweeted about 3 or 4 times today, or X'd about 3 or 4 times, whatever I did, about Mike Johnson and this new deal. Man, you know what? I might be able to pull up the video.
Oh,
I might be sophisticated enough to do that here. Let me see if I can. I could pull this up for people. But so basically, Johnson, I don't know if you guys saw this. Yesterday, he was out there making excuses on why he was giving away the farm on this CR. And what he said, and what I've heard people say, is that, look, you only have 1/2 of 2/3 of the government. We have to play for November. That's not the way you can get things done in Washington. I've heard excuse after excuse after excuse as to why these minibus bills are being moved forward. They say, well, we're not doing omnibus now. Now we're doing these laddered bills, and it has to be. They do as a bunch of Washington speak, and I'm sure everybody heard it.
Sure.
They talked about the cuts to the FBI. They talked about the cuts to some other, I forget what the other agencies were. I think the ATF, and they cut like 10% to the EPA or something, but they didn't mention the border. He talked, I guess they increased some military spending, which they said was important.
Of course they did.
But at the same time, he didn't even mention the border. So let me see if I can bring this up. I'm gonna try to do this, Puppet. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't think I put it in my iCloud drive here. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do it for you guys. We're using new technology tonight, and I need to figure out how it works first before I make promises that I can't keep. But essentially, so yeah, he was out there yesterday just touting what he was able to do. So going back to the ripping up the State of the Union, and this kind of goes to my point. I feel like Republicans in the House need to fight. And I think they're losing every minibus, every spending bill they pass. They're saving, obviously, the border fight for last. Now, they've passed H.R. 2. There is legislation from the House that the Senate can take up that will improve the situation at the border, right? Senate's not taking it up. We could have shut down the government, refused to fund anything until the Senate acted on H.R. 2, right? But they didn't. Now, they're worried, of course, that this will hurt Republicans come November. They're focused, the narrative in Washington is we need to focus on November because November is when we take the Senate. November is when we can add to our margins in the House. November is when we have the White House and we can get stuff done. Possibly. I don't hate that idea. But here's the thing. You actually have a slim margin in the House because you fired George Santos and you replace it with a Democrat. Let's remember that, Republicans. Yep. The other thing is, you're not guaranteed to take the Senate. It looks like we could, with Sinema saying she's not seeking re-election, and with Carrie Lake looking like she might take that seat. There might be a few seats we're able to pick up in the Senate and take that body.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're going to keep all the seats we got either. I mean, there's just so many crapshoots.
Doesn't mean we're going to keep all the seats we have. And the House...
Especially since, if you look at the last election when we had House and Senate seats up, it wasn't nearly as good as we had hoped.
Oh, apparently... there's Chad Caton, National Operations Director for Veterans for Trump, is telling me that people are blocking the motorcade route Palestinians. That's appropriate.
You know, that's what happens when you let people into this country that basically oppose our point of view, and you let lawlessness run wild. You get all this crap.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Oh, you know, it occurred to me, guys. For those in the chat and those watching tonight, I'm streaming on my account. We're usually streaming on Matt Couch's account. So you might not have met Puppet Carlson before if you're expecting the David Pollack show and you're getting Puppet Carlson. So this is DC After Dark. This is our other show at the DC Patriot. It's me, Puppet Carlson, and Matt Couch. And we have a lot of fun in the evenings. We get a little bit silly. It's less serious. It's more digestible for politics. That's what's going on here, in case you're like, why does David have a puppet as a guest? That's what's going on here.
I'm not really a guest. I'm David's sidekick.
Exactly. He's the
alter ego and better looking half.
You are half. That is true. There is only
true.
Half of you. Chad, if you wouldn't mind, keep us posted on that motorcade. I'll keep notes on it as well. But yeah, so but going back to
Biden has a time fuse. He's going to turn her into a pumpkin, so they better move that crowd along.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, dang it, his drugs only have a limited time span. So somebody said, it's this, I think from Twitch, it says it's Astragio or something, says the puppet is terrifying, not gonna lie. Natalie Winter says the same thing, but that's a real puppet, guys. This isn't a puppet. This is a real puppet.
I'm a real puppet.
You're hurting his feelings.
I'm Puppet Carlson.
That's right.
I'm a real puppet.
So you got to. But going back to what I was saying before, yes, we hope to get seats in the House. Yes, we hope to get the Senate. Yes, we hope to get the White House. I think we will win the White House if they let us. Now, there's a whole bunch of things.
They ain't gonna let us. We have to win by an overwhelming majority.
Yeah. Well, I do think we're going to win beyond the margin of fraud. But, you know, they're going. Remember last time in 2016, they were begging the electors, vote your conscience. You don't have to vote for Trump. Remember, they were trying to Hollywood. This is Hollywood actors. We're coming to tell you to vote your conscience. And so they're going to do. Look, they're trying to put him in jail. They've sued him. They try to take his, hurt him hurt him in his pocketbook. They've tried to go after his family. They've tried to go after anybody associated with him. So they're not just going to be like, okay, cool. Let's let Trump in. So they're going to try to stop him, but let's assume we get the White House. Great. Let's not forget when we had the House, the Senate, and the White House. Do you remember? I have this posted on my Twitter. The reason why Republicans hate Republicans. Do you remember this? Remember this?
Yeah.
You remember who did that? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
And I'm not talking about Gladiator.
Chuck Norris.
No. It was our good friend John McCain.
Yes.
When Trump promised that we would reverse Obamacare, something that was hurting American families, something that all of America wanted to see done. Trump gets elected. He's trying to fulfill that promise to reverse Obamacare, to get rid of it. We were one vote away from that happening. And do you know who stopped that from happening?
John McCain.
A Republican. So just because you get the majorities, it doesn't mean that little coalitions of Republicans don't get together, name themselves some kind of cute name, Gang of 12, moderates, Republican moderate, whatever they want to call themselves. And you can have the majority, but let's say we have a 10-seat majority. Those 10 people can band together and screw us, right? And just because you have the Senate, you're not guaranteed that you're going to get the type of senators that are all going to go, yeah, sure, let's go and support what the House did, or let's support what Trump did. You remember how these people feel about Trump. None of this is a surprise.
No.
So I'm not necessarily in favor of waiting till November to do something about the border. How many Americans have to die before we do something about the border? And what leverage do we have? If we only control 1/3 of the government, when the Democrats had those margins, they were able to do quite a lot. They leveraged their unity any chance they could to resist Trump. That's what Republicans want Republicans to do. Republicans want Speaker Johnson to stand up and rip that State of the Union in half. Republicans want Speaker Johnson to stand up and shush his caucus when they applaud like Nancy Pelosi did. Remember when they were all wearing white? When Trump's State of the Union, when she ripped up the door, she's like, shh, shh. She's shushing them. She had those people controlled. They did whatever she said.
Well, that's what they do. They're experts at control.
Right. But I don't believe Speaker Johnson is going to sit there angry. He'll applaud. And look, I get it. We're conservatives, right? We don't act like they do. We're polite. We're statesmen. We don't rip up things. We don't do what they do. We don't stoop to their level. But guys, we're in a fight for this country right now. We really are in a fight for our future. And if the Democrats had the opportunity, if they had 1/2 of this country, what do you think they would be doing? They'd be shutting down the government and blaming Republicans. They would be pushing for whatever initiative they could possibly do. They would be going and organizing protests all across the country to make sure their public policy moved forward and they had the media on their side. Have you seen, other than the convoy to the border, where are the big protests? Somebody needs to start organizing these things, because what the left is doing to this country is hurting all American families. And that brings us to tonight. Tonight is the State of the Union, where traditionally, the President of the United States, with both the House and the Senate present, they in the Supreme Court, everybody, right? Joint session of Congress. They show up. They say, America, the State of the Union is strong, right? And woo, everybody cheers, America. But it's not.
But no, it's not.
So what do you think Joe Biden is going to celebrate tonight, Puppet?
Well, I think he's going to celebrate his, as Cringe John Pierre says, his amazing, better than nearly any other president in history, successful first term. Did you hear her say that?
Yo, yeah, she talked to historic.
Someone was asking her, someone was asking her about why the president has been using note cards so often lately. And she got so bent out of shape about the note cards that she went into this diatribe about how this person could be asking about him using note cards when this president has had a historically successful first term, more than any other president. And I just had to laugh at that and say, do you think that Trump uses hyperbole? This was absolutely ridiculous. The best term in history. Yeah, right.
Well, look, I mean, that's what they do. They lie. They're propagandists. I mean, that's what they are.
They're going to do that all night tonight. That's what his State of the Union is going to be about, is about how amazing his first term has been and how successful his Build Back Better plan and infrastructure plan and all of the other gobbledygook that he has put into place, all just essentially fronts for money laundering to Ukraine, is being so successful.
Yeah, I mean, right. Basically, they're just going to lie for an hour, and the Democrats will cheer. And I look, honestly, I'm watching tonight not because I actually want to listen to the guy. I got to produce content for my viewers. So I'll be watching tonight so I can get little clips and send them out to highlight what actually we all already know. But I think they'll appreciate, because not a lot of Republicans are going to watch this. So when they're not watching, I'll suffer through it for you guys, and then I'll highlight whatever I find very, very interesting in little clips for you guys. You don't even have to suffer through it. You can go and enjoy your night, and I will go and suffer for you and find those clips and send them out so you guys can watch this. And
and so will Matt Couch will be also out.
That's right. That's
tweeting through the DC tweeting to his account and pushing people to DC Patriot and all the coverage we're gonna have there.
That's right.
So you don't have to watch it. You can just hang with us, follow our accounts, follow the DC Patriot, and get all the information you need to know. Yeah,
absolutely. And we'll suffer for you guys, because that's what we do for our audience. Look, we know the State of the Union, right? We know what the State of the Union is. And guys, it's 8:37. We're going to wrap this before 9 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a quick show, but we just wanted to make sure we hopped on air and gave you our thoughts before the State of the Union. And we also have this is on X right now live, but we are going to show you and share with you, if I can figure out how to do it, Puppet's pre-State of the Union response. So were all the other, were the Republicans going to have a response? Trump's actually going to be apparently responding live to Tucker. I mean, to Tucker, to Biden during the State of the Union. He's basically going to be like fact checking him live. I got to figure out where he's going to do that.
Oh, that's going to be hysterical.
That's going to be awesome.
And then Tucker is going, my man Tucker is going right immediately after to do live reaction commentary himself. So,
and that's going to be so much better than the Republican response.
And the couch and Matt Couch and sitting and watching this unfold.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And I can tell you this, Tucker's response is gonna be better than the Republican response. Your pre-response, I mean, look, we don't have to wait for Biden to speak in order to respond. We know what he's gonna say. Inflation is down, wages are up, Trump's bad, the country's divided.
The country's divided. You're bad.
Yeah.
You're a MAGA.
Yes,
maggot,
that's right.
Maggot, piece of garbage. You're part of the problem. You're a white supremacist. You're a domestic terrorist. You're destroying the fabric of the country, splitting us apart, and keeping us from achieving our goals of globalism, socialism, and complete control over you, your property, your money, and everything else, and your thoughts.
Yeah, and that's always my favorite part about anytime Biden talks, other than when he just jibber jabs. My favorite part about when Biden speaks is when he says, "We have to unify. We can't be divided." And Trump divides this country, and all those MAGA people, and all the rest. And then he just goes on and insults half the country. And then he talks about, I mean, liberal hypocrisy. It has to be taught in colleges, right? As an art, it's an art form. It has to be an art form. For you to actually accuse somebody of doing, literally, liberal hypocrisy means you can be hitting somebody in the face and saying, "I'm against violence. I have to attack you to stand against violence. Stop hate as I hate you," right? That's, I just don't, it's an art form. And so, yes, Joe Biden is going to stand on stage and talk about how we need to unify as he divides. That's liberal hypocrisy. And then the media is just going to, the thing that's going to annoy me the most is that he's probably going to perform average tonight. I really do. I think they'll drug him up enough. He's had enough rest and ice cream. He's going to be average. He's going to slur. He's going to mumble. But he's not going to trip. Like, literally, he will not trip and fall, most likely, because they'll be holding him up. But if he doesn't trip and fall, the media will say, "This is one of the best speeches ever by Joe Biden," right? That's what even Fox News. What was your takeaway, Brett Baer? "Oh, this was one of the, probably Joe Biden's best speech. And really, a great speech when needed most, going into an election year when Donald Trump is performing really well, looks like he's going to secure the nomination. This was a speech Joe Biden had to give tonight." Do I sound just like the media, right?
Yes.
This was a speech Joe Biden had to give tonight. He had to assure his base that he was, because there was a lot of questions about his mental competency. But tonight, he answered those questions. He looked as sharp as ever. This was a different Joe Biden than we were expecting. This is the Joe Biden that people wanted to be president in 2020. He's really did a lot for himself to reassure his voters, right? That's what
yes. Yeah, I saw a clip this morning from Joe Scarborough saying something. He was saying basically that he said that Biden has been cogent in the past. He felt Biden was cogent in the past, but he was saying that essentially that he had to that was not strong enough, that his previous statements were not strong enough, that he is beyond cogent, that he is better than he's ever been. That Biden today is better than he has ever been, better than 5 years ago, better than 10 years ago, better than 20 years ago. He is the best he's ever been right now. And, you know, when you hear stuff like that, you just have to take a step back and say, really? Really? You're supposed to be a journalist. Look, Trump isn't better than he was 10 years ago. Surely not 20 years ago. No one's better than they were at 80 than they were when they were 60. Come on. It's just not possible.
Oh no, the media will say, "Hey, we're being joined by a very special guest. I'm really excited he came on, Mr. Chad Caton, National Operations Director for Veterans for Trump, talk show host, radio guy, super nice guy, and a good friend. Chad Caton. Oh, look at that! Look at the picture.
Yeah, that's a perfect shot.
What's up, boys? How we doing, man? I saw this jump on my phone, and I don't have my hair and no makeup, and I'm wearing glasses, so I thought I'd put a picture of me and Puppet at CPAC. So just you'll have to excuse me not having my hair in its usual man hawk.
I love it. I think
Awesome,
it's pretty
bro.
awesome.
Nice to talk to you. How's it going on the ground?
You know what? We're gonna win this shit. Period.
Yeah.
And tonight we're about to watch a French fry give a speech, and
Yeah.
I can't wait. And it's gonna be a special moment for all of us to laugh. I see the Democrats are wearing all white because they're the most racist side of our government. Thank you for proving our point.
Did they bring the hoods, or they left the hoods at home?
They left the hoods at home. It does look like their zippers are Velcro. So when they go out, they'll say it is probably a raincoat type of thing, but we all know it's a legitimate hood and mask because of COVID. So they work.
Are they wearing masks tonight?
They aren't. I did see one, but I don't know if they work here. Right now they're showing Mitch McConnell. Looks like he had his turtle feed before he came in. Yeah, these people are terrible. They just suck.
Yeah, and then I'm sure you heard when you were backstage what I predict the media response is going to be, and I know I'm right about it. By the way, the media is just going to gush all over Biden if he doesn't literally fall over and have a stroke.
They already are.
They already. What are they saying?
They had a thing go up because I can switch back and forth between MSNBC and CNN. I'm on Fox now, but They said that media has already been given his speech, and it's already being touted as the best speech he's ever given.
I've predicted this. I'm going to cut this video up, and I'm going to use that prediction right after the speech, and I'm literally going to go and side by side the media saying it with my prediction.
Yeah, man, it's this is one of the greatest shit shows we're going to be able to watch in a very long time. There's a lot of people like, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching Biden. Well, that makes absolutely zero sense. So how can you not speak to something and fight for your country if you don't know what they're saying? But those are the people that don't do shit anyway and don't get involved in their parties and don't go out and actually try to save this country. They put up a meme every morning, and then they come home before they go to hot yoga and put a GIF up and call it a day. This is, you know me, man. I'm tired of weakness. I'm so sick of weakness. And that's why I'm on with studs like you and Puppet Carlson. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's got to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they've read the speech and what they're saying is it's the best speech that he's going to give, it's the best speech he's going to read. But the thing that you pointed out is we have to pay attention to the words in that speech because they weren't written by him. They're written for him. So that'll give you a clear indication of what the people who handle him plan for us. And so that's why it's really important to listen to the word. You won't be able to understand what Joe Biden is saying, but it's really important to listen to the words that they wrote because Joe Biden doesn't control anything he does. Somebody else does. So it'll be really important to watch what they say Joe Biden's going to say because that's what they're going to make Joe Biden do. So it will be important to pay attention to that. I have a feeling it's going to include a lot of, gosh, do you think he'll call for a ceasefire tonight?
No, I don't. And Puppet, I want to see you more on boots on the ground because they do have the Palestinians have blocked, and this is the greatest thing ever. They blocked the motorcade route, and now they've stated that we have Plan B. And so all these people are I think last I heard was 130, 150 Palestinians, standing in the middle of the road. And now the president is leaving the White House right now. He's coming out right now. So they've got another way to the Capitol building. So, and now they're saying they're not going to tell them where because they don't want other factions of this Palestinian group to go and try to block the motorcade. So, and I'm going to tell you right now, just knowing protocol, if they block the motorcade, they're going to end up on the windshield.
Well, obviously they can't stop the motorcade. So that's just how it is. They should have why didn't they put fences along The motorcade route,
Oh, they ran out.
because they put them all around the Capitol.
Yep,
Put
too many
fences.
fences, and the Wish container didn't come in from China. So
Yeah. They're going to build a wall, and Palestine's going to pay for it, right?
They're going to build a wall around the Capitol, but not at our border.
no,
Yeah,
because the border's important to stay open. We got to keep that open.
Yeah,
That's right. Got to keep it open. Got to get them voters in here.
Yeah, the poll numbers aren't looking good.
Not
Keep
to
the border
mention
open.
the Chinese terrorists from all other cells of all types and sizes.
Oh my gosh. So we got about what? It's 8:48. I got Chad, have you seen that Puppet now has prepared his own pre-response to the State of the Union? Have you seen this?
Dude, I shared it everywhere and said I wouldn't miss this for the world.
All right. Well,
You know how much I respect Puppet, Carlson. We had a lot of real in-depth conversations, as you can see in the picture.
That's right.
Not everybody can hang out at CPAC. I was very busy, but me and Puppet really fixed a lot of the world's problems. We just haven't implemented them yet. So, of course, I want to hear that response. I'm very excited.
All right. Well, let's see here if I can figure out my technology. I have Puppet's State of the Union speech here, and
it's the best speech ever. It's the best speech.
I believe it's
I've
8 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Puppet's pre-response right now for everybody, and then what we'll do is wrap the show. And so if you'd like to stick around here, Chad, to watch it, you're welcome to, and we can have a brief discussion before we wrap and send everybody to the State of the Union.
Yeah, I want to be a part of history, so I'll stay.
All right, here comes the first pre-response to the State of the Union coming up here.
Puppet Nation, distinguished guests, not so distinguished guests, libs, deep staters, weirdos, patriots, and my fellow Americans. I stand before you with a message of urgency, a call to action, and a vision of hope. We're standing at the crossroads of history, where reclaiming our path to our cherished American values of faith, freedom, and family is being bulldozed by a brigade of woke warriors led by none other than Crooked Joe himself, with road signs poorly painted by Hunter on heroin. We can no longer stand by while our values disappear like Marty McFly on that picture in Back to the Future. We must reverse course, turn back the clock, and return to a time where faith, family, and freedom were more than words. Faith isn't about old dudes in robes. It's about the freedom to tweet your prayers without getting shadow banned by big tech. But alas, in today's America, expressing your faith is more dangerous than a conservative speaker at a college campus. We need to bring back the kind of faith that inspires, not the kind that gets you canceled. Freedom seems to have been downgraded to a trial version with limited features, thanks to an overreaching government that's more evasive than a telemarketer during dinner time. Our forefathers didn't don those powdered wigs for this, folks. It's high time we uninstall the current system of government, globalism, and corporate control, and reboot our constitutional rights. The family has become a concept so flexible, according to the left, it might as well be made of rubber, the ones that they hand out. Remember when family values meant more than just deciding who gets control of the Netflix account? We need policies that protect the family dinner table, not just the rights to choose from 56 genders on a social media profile. As we wade through the swamp, draining it one policy debate at a time, one department at a time, we're not just fighting for political points. We're battling for America's soul. And believe me, it's a soul more vibrant than any escapade in an Escalade, regardless of who's in the back seat. I'm starting with border security, because a nation without borders is like a house without walls. Great for airflow, terrible for security. We weren't building just a wall for the sake of building it. We're building it to ensure the safety of our citizens, to ensure the sovereignty of our states, and the sanctity of our culture. We want to keep out the drugs, deviants, and dealers, the pedophiles, prisoners, and predators, and the mainstream media, if we're lucky. Next, we need to double down on law and order. It's more than a TV show. It's what separates us from living in a real-life episode of The Purge. Supporting our boys in blue, isn't just about bumper stickers. It's about giving them resources to keep our streets safer than a lib baby's safe space. It's about enforcing our laws and holding those that break them accountable. And in order to do that, we have to fire these Soros-funded liberal DAs and replace them with people who believe in restoring the dignity and personal accountability to our courts, cops, and country. How about the sanctity of life? It's a concept so simple even Joe Biden could comprehend it. And yet, here we are, debating whether a heartbeat is a good indication of life. Spoiler alert, it is. It's time we prioritize maternity wards over Planned Parenthood and encourage good, patriotic Americans that having babies isn't bad for the planet or your binge-watching budget. Being a parent is the greatest privilege in the world. Being a mother, the most precious gift God could give. A gift only given to women, real women, with genuine parts, not ugly ducks with balls and beards. Next, they'll be claiming puppets can pop out a pillow pet. Pfft. All of this can be changed with people like you showing you're fed up by casting a vote for change, for American values. But for that to happen, we must have election integrity. We need to ensure that our elections are as secure as Dylan Mulvaney's nutsack in a tight dress. Not just for peace of mind, but for the preservation of democracy itself. We have to stop the steal, end the disinformation campaigns, the rule changing, the ballot harvesting, and the midnight drop boxes. We have to not allow machines that can be corrupted as easily as career politicians and have in-person voting with IDs. Count the ballots by hand on election day and report that night. No water pipe bursts and long night coffee breaks from counting. Everyone has an ID if you're a legal citizen in this country. An ID is required to drive, buy beer or cigarettes, or get medication or insurance or see a doctor. You should also need it to vote in every state in the country. And lastly, and possibly the most important of all, we must defend against government overreach. Big government is like a bad in-law, always overstepping and never knowing when to leave. It's time to dial back on the nanny state and let freedom ring louder than a liberal at a Trump rally. No more laws with names made to sound like they protect us, but only take away our freedoms. We must stop trading freedom for perceived safety and stop squandering our autonomy and opportunity for handouts and hollow promises. We have to fight against any and all mandates and maneuvering that remove our rights and weaken our resolve. We must remain and regain our self-respect as Americans. We must love our country again, be proud of who and what we are and where we came from. We must remember and respect our past, but learn from it and become better, a better society because of it. We must recognize where we've been and where we are and be grateful for how far we've come. We must not be complacent, but continue to strive for liberty, equality, and justice for all. We must stop pandering to cancel culture, wokeism, racial division, and condemn those that degrade our culture and demean our spirit. We must be resolute in our mission, our vision, and our values. We must focus on our country first, our people first, and our problems first, so we can regain our strength, fortify our resolve, and reclaim our position as the greatest country in the world, the only bastion of true freedom on the planet. It was and will be again. So, Puppet Nation, as we march forward, let's not forget what we're fighting for. A country that cherishes its faith, defends its freedom, and celebrates its families, with a nod to the past and an eye on the future. Let's ensure America remains the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And remember, Puppet Nation, the fleece stops here, because we're not just saving a nation, we're knitting ourselves a better future one stitch of common sense at a time.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Wow. Puppet. Powerful stuff there. Puppet.
Thank you. Let's see if that peanut can compete with that.
I got nothing, Dave.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. This puppet is so much better than that puppet.
This puppet is so much better. I'm over here with a freedom boner ready to go out and do some good American shit. Thank you very much, puppet. You gave me some hope in the future. Now I'm going to lose it all as I watch an ice cream cone try to walk into the Capitol building. But nonetheless, you give me hope. Thank you.
Well, with that,
Thank you.
I think then it might be time. Let's go watch the what did you call him there, Chad?
The ice cream cone.
All right, we're gonna go watch the ice cream cone make his way. I wonder if he even knows where he's going. I don't even
just
know.
arrived, and the Palestinian people are pissed because he fandangoed them. So
Right.
he just pulled up to the Capitol building. I'm sure it's going to take him a while to take off his child seat belts, and then they'll get him inside, and they'll do that knocky thing, and then everybody will clap and shit, and we'll probably have another 30 minutes before he actually gets to the microphone. But nonetheless, phenomenal job, puppet.
Thank you. I would be pissed if Joe Biden outsmarted me too. You know, I would be like, wow, I'm ashamed of myself.
Yeah, no, there's gonna be a lot of these.
Yeah. Well, get your bingo card out. I know everybody's got their cocktails, so
Yeah.
Either
It's gonna
way,
be fun.
gentlemen, I appreciate it for letting me be a part of history and letting me join you both. And I need to, as a pundit, I need to go see what Mr. Potato Head's going to say here. So
Yep, we're gonna do the same thing, guys. Thank you
We'll
so
be
much for
online.
watching this special pre-State of the Union pre-game show with a special puppet pre. What are we calling this? A pre-address? Pre-dress.
Pre-dress, yeah.
And now we're gonna go and watch exactly just how effed up the State of the Union is. Chad, thank you for joining. Puppet, always great seeing you as always, my friend. We will see you probably next week, Monday. I don't know.
Yeah. So everyone follow us at Puppet Carlson at the Pollock Show.
Yeah, at Thugzilla. I'm fired up too, I believe.
I'm fired up too. Yeah, man.
I'm fired up too because we're going to be tweeting all night about what's going on. So follow us there and stay up to date.
Yep. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Good night.